to figure out what it would be. I know that, as I said earlier, there'd have to be a performance audit, I'm sure, done, what's the need and so forth, and where they're going to get their money. I don't believe it's the intention of the delegation, or at least the subcommittee right now, that we're entertaining. We're looking at a standalone structure, whether that be a wing, and I'm sure that the veterans would like that to be a standalone building also. So, are there other questions, or would you like more of a clarification?
No, that's fine. I'll ask after the meeting.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else present from the audience wish to ask questions? Okay. Anything else from the delegation? Okay. Thank you all for attending. Intent here is to take a 5-minute break, coffee, go to the bathroom, and then we'll reconvene the subcommittee. Thank you.
Your 5, Mr. Chairman, or our 5?
Well, I'm in the building, so I should have.
What's that?
But the point is that it's not.
And I would just like to say extremely happy with the work that Bonapage and Stone has done previously and now. We had asked, the subcommittee had asked that we see a proposal that was at $1 million or less. I believe they brought that forward, and there was some additional information showing what it might cost to renovate that other 3,000 square feet. But the charge we gave them is exactly what they came back with. So I would like now to move to a discussion and hopefully a motion as to what we're going to make a recommendation to the delegation on Monday. Representative Merrill, you had earlier wanted to offer a motion. I'd like to offer that opportunity to you.
Okay. Point of order, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Representative.
Could you please list the members for me that are on the subcommittee? Because obviously I'm not, I can't vote, but I'd like to know.
Thank you, but we will make the move to allow you to stay at the table, Representative Bass, esteemed member of this delegation. Is my understanding that everyone seated at this table, with the exception of yourself and Algren, is a member of the subcommittee.
Okay, thank you.
So with that,
Okay, this is a subcommittee motion, and I would move that we go forward with the $980,000 figure for the renovation of the core area, and give the commissioners 6 months to come up with someone to fill any of the other parts of the buildings, including the core, before we start the demolition of those other parts of the building.
One moment. Recording secretary, do we have a motion? Do we have a second? Well, could we read the motion as Representative Merrill has presented?
To go forward with $980,000 renovations and 6 months to come up with a proposal from the commissioners.
Yeah, that's right. Come up by the commissioners on how the building should be occupied, or the rest of it torn down.
And if I could add, I believe you had wanted to include proposal presented by Bonapage and Stone, March 14th, 2012.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Everyone understands the motion? Is there a second to the motion?
Yes.
Second to the motion. Discussion? Representative McCarthy.
I go along with the idea that we use the basic plan outlined by Bonapage and Stone, but I believe that each of those items, like 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., be put out on competitive bids, and I think that would be required anyway by law. But
thank you, Representative McCarthy. Also for clarification of the record, on the proposal brought forward by Bonapage and Stone, which we've referenced, March 14, 2012, we're including item number 4, item number 8, item number 9, item number 10, item number 12, which brought us to our $980,000. Cumulative number, 410,000, which is
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4.
So that's like 4A.
Okay.
Can we make that 4A?
Let's make that 4A. Great idea. Representative McCarthy?
Yes, I would like to reiterate that the bids go out independently, you know, a roofing bid, somebody to do the roof, nothing else, somebody to do the demolition, nothing else. To find, you know, an organization like Bonnet, Page and Stone around here that's gonna do the entire project, I think is gonna cost us extra money. I think it should be done piecemeal, roof, walls, demolition, et cetera, et cetera.
Thank you, Representative McCarthy. It is full intention that all of these items would have to go out for a competitive bid, and commissioners are bound to follow that procedure anyway. So I'd like to get through the motion, and the motion is held by the subcommittee. Is there any more conversation between the subcommittee on the motion? Representative Pengill.
The motion is not including 2, 3, and 4.
It is.
It's 4A.
4A, which is 2, 3, and 4.
Except the motion gives 6 months before the demolition can start, even though the other part can start soon. In other words, I can start renovating the core.
I understand your motion.
Yeah.
Yes.
2, 3, and 4 were included in that.
I understand that, but I'm talking about his motion.
I'm not going to open it up to outside if you have a question.
Okay. I think with all of our discussion on your motion, Harry, it just says, go forward with proposal from Bonnet, Page and Stone, dated March 14th, 2012. The $980,000 renovation of the core area, which includes 4A, 8, 9, 10, and 12. Okay.
Correct.
And 6 months to come up, 6 months for the commissioners to come up with proposal for use of remaining portion of the building prior to demolition beginning.
Right. Does that include item 4? They have 6 months before that demolition starts also.
4A.
4A, okay.
Yeah.
Not just the wing, but 4A also, okay.
Representative McCarthy.
Do we want to put a price in there? If we're going to put it out for bid, why don't we just say, you know, the demolition of the buildings, this, et cetera, according to what's on their plan, but leave out any cost, and let that be determined by the bids that come up over the years.
If I could, would the representative feeling better at a cost not to exceed?
980.
Yeah, that would be okay, yeah.
Okay.
Total cost.
Total cost.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, a point of order.
I'm reluctant to go outside, but I will allow you to tell me a point of order.
Regarding the bidding, now, Bonnet, Page and Stone is under the understanding that they're going to get this contract. If they don't get it, then we're going to have to pay them extra for the work that they've done. Okay? I don't know what that's going to be.
If I could, that's the business of the commissioners on how this is moved forward. The delegation, I believe the subcommittee is saying that we would like to see this done as a competitive bid, whatever your outline is.
Okay. You know, we've had problems trying to get local bids for the new nursing home. And I'll be honest with you, it's a headache trying to do this. If we have to put out bids for each of these components, it'd be a lot better to have a general manager do that bidding, but we approve the bids, which is what we did on the new nursing home. I mean, I don't know what kind of specifications are put out on the roofing.
Okay, we're heading somewhere where we don't need to. I think Representative McCarthy had a question. It's not a part of the motion. The bidding process is, there must be a process that the commissioners are locked into by law that they have to follow. That's not the privy of this subcommittee.
Okay.
Representative McCarthy?
Yes, I'd like to, Mr. Sorensen, didn't you mention something about you already had a proposal to demolish the wings at half the price?
I have no problems with that, because they came in and gave that, that proposal. And I will go back and get the proposal for the front of the building, if that should be torn down, and include that in with the wings. That's no problem, because that's one bid, and they know what has to be done. It has to be demolished. And all of the cement pounded out and re-loaned and seating done. That's all in that bid. No problem with that one. It's all electrical, roofing, and all that other stuff.
I don't think we can sit here and tell them how to do that.
No, I believe it's a question we don't need to be entertaining at this point in time. Representative Babson, is it something new, something relative? As I really don't want to open this up for
Yes.
further discussion. Thank you.
I don't think you people are thinking straight. Mr.
I'd prefer you don't refer to us as those people.
Bonnet Page & Stone is not going to accept the liability for all of these other workers. Yes, we have to go out to work. You either got to get a clerk of the works, or you got to have a general contractor. Either way, because they're not going to accept the liability for somebody else's work.
Representative Babson, I share your concern that too many operations have been done without the clerk of the works, but it's not this subcommittee's privy on how the contract moves forward or how the bidding goes forward. It's a recommendation, as I understand, by this subcommittee to the delegation. Perhaps that could be brought up as a delegation item, but I believe our charge is to come forward with a recommendation, and if you want to further that discussion on Monday, that might be the appropriate time, I believe, but it's not at this point in time. All right, so we have a motion. It has been seconded. Further discussion? Representative.
Yeah, I'm going to support the motion, although I'm a little troubled by the 6 months, and maybe if I could get back to the purpose of our subcommittee, it was after many days of testimony that we were able to discern finally what the actual requirements of the county were as expressed to us. And the board is gone, but they come up with the storage room, they came up with the boiler, and a few other items, which we all agreed upon were required. Then at the committee did its job, we determined how many square foot were required for the county to fulfill its mission as it was defined to us at that time. That supports the 10,000 square foot, which I support on the $920,000. The only thing I'm somewhat reluctant on is the 6 months. This open-endedness, frankly, drives me crazy. You know, at this point in time, I would much prefer this committee to make a recommendation that we will move forward with all the demos as defined and go about our business. I think we have heard countless hours of testimony to that effect. If Mr. Merrill's motion is to carry with the 6 months, then I might ask that that be amended slightly to put in a date final commensurate with 1 week from today when this recommendation is presented to the full committee. In other words, I don't want to have anyone coming back 3 months from now on a maybe. I think we just need to do this. I think enough time has gone by. I think our recommendation as defined is a good one. I think we should vote. I think we should make it happen, and let's go forward.
Representative Merrill, would you be accommodating for amendment?
I'd want to hear the exact amendment first, but certainly I would. But you know, if we give, I tend to agree up to a point. But if we give the commissioners 6 months, and they don't have anything, or whatever time we give them, if they don't have anything at that month, that contract should go ahead. Period. Right then. That
Demolition.
Period. Absolutely. If something can't be finalized, not just maybe or whatever.
Well, I believe.
And I think that's what he's going to do, but I'm not sure what the time frame is, so I can't.
The time frame would be a date final 6 months.
Okay.
Precisely following 1 week from today.
I would support that.
When I presume the full committee, I hope, will at least vote in the positive to accepting. So that 6 months would start clicking
Unless they
1 week from
unless they
today.
have a final proposal. Then it's 6 months.
Unless the committee votes it down. But assuming, I hate that word again, we move forward and it passes on a majority vote, it'll be a date final 6 months from
So,
whatever.
so the good representative is in favor of amending his motion. The person second, I believe, was you, Representative Umberger. Will you be amicable to that?
Could you read it again, though, please?
Surely. If I am not mistaken, that date would be 15 October. Okay, so we'll.
I've never known you to make an error.
Oh, yeah, well, then that's a Monday, okay? So we can have one last delegation meeting on the 15th of October, prior to election.
Okay. Thank you. Representative McCarthy.
What is this 6 months for? To try to sell rental space? Is that what you're doing?
The 6 months is for them to come up, they seem to think they can come up with something. If they can come up with a good, solid proposal, with a good contract, which will pay for that building and make money for the county, then I think we'd be foolish not to consider it. If they can't, then they ought to go.
Yes.
We've already had 3 years to do
Well,
this.
you don't have to vote for the motion, Frank. I'm not gonna, I mean, that's my
Okay,
view.
gentlemen. Thank you.
If I could.
Yes, Representative Umberger.
Just a comment. When I asked Bonnet, Page, and Stone what the sequence of events would be, they said that it would take them approximately 6 months to revamp the inside of the building, and that the demolition could occur either before or after. And so what I was looking at was the commissioners have come to us any number of times and said, oh, well, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. And then we get, but we didn't know, okay? So now they know. They know what the deadline is. We've set it for the 15th of October. Then the demolition can begin. And they can demolish buildings during the cold weather as opposed to, and then plant the grass the following. So for all of the ifs, ands, and buts and stories that we've been having, this gives them a time definite to do something. And if it's not done, then we demolish the building. They can start on the 16th of...
Which will fit within their schedule.
Right.
Representative McCarthy, you understand where we're at this point?
Yeah, I understand we're stalling, yes.
I
don't agree with that.
that would be your position. I would hope that you could see beyond that with us and look at the bigger, where we're at this point. Representative Pingo, do you have any questions at this point? Okay.
Can I read the motion again?
Please.
Okay. I'm going to start out. The delegation, okay, because that's what we're recommending.
Right.
The delegation go forward with the proposal from BPS dated March 14th, 2012, with a not-to-exceed cost of $980,000 for renovation of core area of old nursing home, and set 15 October 2012 for the commissioners to come up with proposal for use of remaining portion of the building prior to demolition beginning. And I guess after core area of old nursing home, we should add 4A, 8, 10, 8, 9, 10, and 12.
Okay.
Does that,
Representative McCarthy, go ahead.
Demolition of the core building, or?
No.
Are we talking about the?
everything,
Everything.
else.
The,
4A.
Which is, if I could, Representative McCarthy, which is what the subcommittee had asked of the commissioners and the Bonnet, Page, and Stone. In 6 months' time, the motion as I see is for 3,000 square feet that are inside the building. If there's some other use for anything else, it has to be consummated before that date, in that that everything else is coming down. We're only permitting the core to be renovated.
Okay, this doesn't.
Back to that point.
The wings can come down right away.
No.
No,
No.
no.
Everything stays.
If we tell them by October 1st, they couldn't come down any sooner than that anyways. I really don't, I
We're talking about the
really,
wings and the core.
the wings and the front part of the building, the core. But if they were to make a decision today, I would believe that their number one contractor, always wrecking that they're dealing with, couldn't come in here in less than 4 or 6 months anyways to start the job. They're already bidding for projects that are happening right now, so I would hope that that wouldn't be a concern that hold up a member. So,
what we're doing, if I,
please.
$980,000 authorizes the demolition of the wings and the front of the building. All this motion is really doing is deferring 4A, the demolition of the wings and the front, for a date certain, 6 months, to take effect October 15th. That's what it's doing.
Not to show up 4 months from then and say, I think I might have something. 6 months is drop dead. They don't have something. It's not a firm contract. Someone isn't ready to move and act. That's for someone else to decide after that. It's a subcommittee's position. We'd ask for a building not to be over $1 million. We'd ask for the extraneous wings, and then how could you make that building work? They've shrunk that building. They're allowing up to a foot space of 3,000 square feet that could be used for storage and or office space. We know that that comes at a higher price. We're not committing the delegation for that extra price. It's my understanding the motion's simple, and that we're to appoint, what we've asked for is what they brought forward, and I'd like to move forward. If there's any questions that would keep us from getting to that, I'd like to discuss it. Otherwise, we'll move forward with a roll call.
I'm very uncomfortable with a 6-month future.
Are you, notwithstanding the 6 months, is the rest of the proposal meet your favor?
Yes.
Okay.
Same with me.
Okay. Further discussion?
I'm trying to frame a question in my mind to try to help alleviate
Please.
this problem. Is the problem because it makes a difference to you what the contractor does first?
No.
Okay. Okay. So it's not.
No.
Okay.
It's that we're gonna open up we're gonna open this all up again.
That's exactly
We're
right.
gonna open this, we're gonna be in the same exact place 6 months from now.
No, we're not. Because in 6
I don't
months,
understand how you can say we're not.
in 6 months, the demolition begins, period.
If
If they don't have someone that has signed on the dotted line
To do what?
to do whatever they think they can have done.
And
Okay?
expand space.
No. No. No expansion.
No expanding space?
No. If they, just a second.
How can you not be expanding space
If-
when you're agreeing to this, but a wing that you're agreeing to being gone is now going to be a used wing?
Okay,
How is that not expanding
and
space?
the occupant of that space is going to pay for anything that needs to be done. Period. If it is outside the core. Outside, the box.
100%.
100%.
Well, I didn't hear that in the motion.
Would the representative be more in favor if that was to be specified in the motion? Or is it the time of the representative would? Representative McCarthy, would that make a difference to you?
It would certainly make a difference to me if that stipulation went for the entire building, core and wings.
Okay, so if, the way the motion really is written right now is that we're only speaking of the core, am I correct?
No. It's
No.
everything.
No.
It's
Okay,
everything.
so could we incorporate into that any expansion, any exterior dimension, I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
outside of the scope of the 5 or 6 items that we've mentioned, 4A, 8, 9, 10, 12, would not be allowed unless entire costs borne from keeping any part of the old structure was paid for by a signed contract within that period of time? Is that basically where you're heading to? So just a clarification on the 6 months.
Maybe a way to put that would be any alteration to the proposal to $980,000, which would include the retention of the wings, would require a contract in place, signed, sealed, and delivered to the satisfaction of the delegation. And that seems tight to me.
Hold on one second.
You know, it's my opinion, and what they're doing is they're trying to figure out a way to bring the UNH cooperative out of Conway down here. They're stalling to keep it open for that. They want another 6-month period. They can come back in 2 or 3 months and say, okay, UNH signed a contract, they'll rent it for $40,000 a month, or $40,000 a year, or whatever, so there you go. Now we got to bring UNH down.
Well, I would disagree with the good representative from the point that the option is right now there inside the core building for the commissioners to work on filling 3,000 square feet. I don't think there's anyone on the subcommittee that even begins to believe that they're going to keep a wing, and that's not even entering my thought process. What I thought we're hearing is, let's say the commissioners came back with Health and Human Service was willing to occupy 3,000, they needed another wings, and they were willing to pay for that wing renovation, and anything that was related to it was a burden by the leasee that came in here, or the leaseor, then that's what we're talking about.
I have no problems with that at all.
Okay, and that's what I believe we're just trying to craft here.
Except for one thing which was discussed. I don't think necessarily that the renovations inside the core would have to be totally paid by somebody coming in there, which is what Representative McCarthy mentioned. And I couldn't vote for that. I could vote for the...
Take that completely out. The proposal is that we're providing a space that could be renovated for something.
Okay.
And how that space is paid for is a further discussion. It's not in our recommendation. We're not doing that.
Right. And it's not our subcommittee's
Right,
responsibility.
it's not our responsibility. All I'm trying to do is tighten this up so that we could move towards unanimous proposal or acceptance here, and crystallize that so that anything, if any part of the building besides what we're talking about were to remain, it has to be done by contract, by the date certain that we've set, and that any monies that need to be expended for that are going to be paid by the user. That's what I'm trying to do here, Frank. Having any luck with putting that together, Representative Umberger?
Pretty close.
Okay. Take a cup of coffee while you do that.
Yeah. Then we can at least have something to shoot at.